serious chit chat. Grab your popcorn, sit tight, we're ready to roll. In the heart of Sac Town, we're feeding your soul. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star. With the NFL, Adams in the ring. Rhino's got the wisdom, hear the praises we sing. Court in session, it's a royal affair. With the fans all around, feel the passion in the air. In the King's Court, the vibe's electric. If you don't like that, we're here to correct it. With the best in the game, we're raising the bar. From the hardwood to the airways, we're the King's shining star.
You made it. Good job. It's Friday. How you doing? King's Court, middle of the summer. Lot going. Get in now. Get in early. Get in often. We are doing a 90-minute show today. Here's your summer headlines from NFL.com. Shedeur not worried about limited reps for Browns. Isn't he a fifth-round quarterback? He's getting reps. That should be the news. Not limited reps. He is getting a rep. If that doesn't tickle your fancy, how about Fenway concession workers? Strike for Sox series. They ain't messing around, man. Give them their fair wages. They must not be getting employee meals. You should be getting free nachos and hot dogs if you're working those stands. It's like fast, frequent. Let them take what they want. I mean, maybe charge them for the beer. That's what they're going to do. How about Major League Soccer suspending major players for not playing in the All-Star game? Interesting. We could do a show around that. Not really. The NFLPA, we still haven't gotten to that. We'll get to that next week. Way too much to swallow today on a Friday, but that is definitely in shambles. What's up? How you doing? I want to say sorry right off the bat because so many of you have hit me with DMs or found my Instagram and sent me messages. For whatever reason, things get filtered, and I decided to look today, and I saw a ton of them. So I'll do my best to get back at as many as I can. I was not ignoring you. I was not being that guy. That's not how we roll. As this goes along, never going to big time the people that made this show, the OGs. So come on. To those that do that are in the King's media, shame on you. Anyways, how you doing? I want to thank you too. Since I said sorry, I'm going to thank you as well. 31 likes yesterday. I just asked for one more. We got like 6 or 7 more. Thank you. We are on our march to get one more like than the previous day. We're going to pay it off with a get-together at Bennett's. You guys have all been asking for it. So I'm not looking for 32. I know that's not realistic. How about we try to get 28? 28. That would be one more than the next day. Thank you all for giving us a thumbs up. Means a lot to us on the channel. Speaking of the channel, double header tonight. You got Napes going to wrap up the week at 8 o'clock tonight with Open Forum. I think he did a really good show last night, and I'm going to follow up on some of the topics that he talked about. It struck me a little bit with what's going on in Sac State, and Dorian, not sure if you're listening right now, Dorian was a big part of that. He played football at Sac State, and the reason that I want to weigh in is because I watched this whole process play out in front of me at San Diego State. Yes, it may be more people that travel for school, that move away for school to San Diego, but there's so many other things to do in San Diego than there is Sacramento. Believe it or not, it really is kind of a commuter school for a state school, if you run down the list, but one of the more popular ones in terms of the sports programs, transforming. I watched it, and I can tell you where they're at now, and I can kind of give you an idea of why I think Sac State's looking at this the wrong way. I get why you want to grow, you want to get in on the money in college football, but no matter how much you raise to get to FBS, to have NIL, that's for a year, yo. San Diego State just built their first football state. Well, it's not their first. There was the Aztec Bowl originally, but that got ripped down. They were playing at Qualcomm, and just a few years ago, did they finally build a football stadium on campus, Snapdragon Stadium. So it's kind of, I'll go about it, but good job by Grant last night. Join him again, 8 o'clock tonight. He will be taking you home towards the weekend. If anything happens with the Kings over the weekend, one of us will be here. I will definitely be here. So make sure that you are subscribed to the channel. If you have not already, we'd greatly appreciate it. We're not going to spam you. We don't have your email address. It just lets you know when we go live. So the Kings, still a lot of talk around, are they going to make any moves? We'll dig into it a little more, but here's the question that I think we need to kind of ask ourselves. And I think it's a reality that we need to face. The way that we're thinking about Sacramento Kings basketball does not work. It hasn't worked. Well, it worked for the Beam team year, 22-23. You break the playoff drought. But beyond that, you haven't been back to the playoffs. We've got to start thinking outside the box. And I think Scott Perry is kind of beginning to do those things. I mentioned some of the comments he's made about trying to push Keegan to the three, make sure that Keegan is a point of emphasis on offense. But now most recently, with the Jonathan Kuminga possible sign and trade that the Kings have made a concrete offer, there's a lot of whispers that it could include Keon Ellis. I don't like it either. I get it. I absolutely get it. But think outside the box. The Kings aren't going to be a defensive team this year. They're not going to be a defensive team probably next year. They're not going to be able to build towards being that quote-unquote defensive team until that Levine contract's up, at minimum. So if the Kings are just building to do what they've done before, the NBA knows how to stop it. The Kings aren't going to be any better. So is it okay to think out of the box? I don't like taking risks in terms of giving up young talent that you have personally developed in this system, a player that I think is plug and play for 29 other teams in the NBA, but you got to take risks to get better. And so where do y'all stand on that? We will talk about it as well. Westbrook, Simmons, what's going to happen with them? We're within that week that Ben Simmons is going to make a decision. Sounds like it's down to just a couple of teams, and Sacramento is one of them. Maybe considered one of the best situations for Ben Simmons. I don't hate it. I don't love it, especially if it's for the right number. But there's another guard right there coming in. What's that mean for Devin Carter? And of course, we've mentioned Kuminga and some of the other restricted fours. Still waiting for these shoes to drop. Josh Giddey, what's going to happen with him? Cam Thomas, Quentin Grimes, and then certainly who we already hit, Jonathan Kuminga. So we're going to get into the Sac State athletics. I don't want to say boom, but this fast track to try to make them relevant, which usually does not work. It's got to start on the court or the field, and then it happens organically, and you got to take your bumps. I mean, you really got to take your bumps and kind of pay your dues, to be honest. And so Sac State basketball, I think, is a little closer to that compared to what Mike Bibby's doing right now and the excitement behind that. That's where I would be putting my resources right now. It would not be football. It would be Mike Bibby and Shaquille. What is it? Sacramento, your GM. Also, if you still want to weigh in on Hulk Hogan, we can do that. There was a video that surfaced yesterday online. So some new reports coming out that he was having some issues. Hulk Hogan, a.k.a. he is a real person, Terry Bollea. But he was having some issues since a neck surgery in the spring and kind of health declining to a degree. Some reports saying it took a more dramatic turn within the last week. But this video surfaced that looks fairly recent. It was just uploaded yesterday. Might be the last video of Hogan before he passed away. Maybe there's others, but you can tell Hogs does not look great. Here's the video.
I always heard something like it was good to drink beers while working out because it dehydrated and you really get beer muscles. Is that true?
Well, the truth is, truth be told, before I wrestled, I always kept a case of beer in the dressing room.
Yeah.
Because the boys never had that treat. But when I was around, I had that. A little bit of stroke back then.
Yeah.
I'd keep a case of beer and the boys would hit it before we go to the ring. Made the matches much better. But that was then and this is now. But I did drink a beer every once in a while, you know, before I'd work out, just to have fun when the guys would come over. I didn't do it all the time.
Sure.
But we had one heavy duty day a year. And that was called the John Matuzak Memorial Workout. And John Matuzak played for the Oakland Raiders. He played for the University of Tampa. He's a very good friend of mine. And when he passed away, his mom sent all this stuff to me, his clothes, pictures, everything. So every year we'd have the John Matuzak Memorial Workout, and we'd start training at midnight. We'd train till the sun came up, and we'd train every single body part. And we drank beer the whole time, brother. The only problem was it wasn't real American beer. But now we got real American beer.
I'm excited for beer. What young wrestlers right now do you see that, like, man, you see a lot of potential? And is there any guys you're a fan of currently, or?
Well, there's a couple Americans there that Trump loves that we've been talking business with. So.
Wrestlers-wise. WWE.
WWE. Okay.
Is there any wrestlers that?
Oh, there's so many.
Yeah, who's like the talent that you're like, man, I see a little. I mean, obviously, a lot of these wrestlers got something from you. But who do you want, like, it's like you see that has that Hulk potential, that Rock potential, that Stone Cold, that next superstar potential?
When you're talking WWE-wise, what you're hitting on now is an attraction. You're not talking about a superstar. Because superstars, there's many, many of them.
Yeah.
And sometimes they'll get hurt and they'll bring another superstar in. The attractions are what the WWE's looking for, and they got a good eye for finding somebody that has the it factor. You know, they got Seth Rollins lined up, they got Logan Paul lined up, who's fresh off the block. Good. I mean, they got a lot of good. You know, Roman Reigns is really, really hot. I could go on Cody Rhodes. I could go on and on and on, but it's going to be the survival of the quickest draw, because once you get on that level, everybody's gunning for you. I don't care what the storyline is. You got to make your own breaks when you get to that level. You got to outthink the office. You got to outthink the business. You got to outthink the company. And once you get on that level, you got to make your own breaks.
Two last things. Where do you keep all the? I used to have tons of Hulk merchandise, the buddies, and where do you have a room that you just have all the Hulk merchandise at?
Well, where I live in Clearwater, Florida, we have a retail store.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan's Wrestling Shop. Yeah. I got a bar there called Hogan's Hangout also, and we have like storage places, you know, around Clearwater Beach with all my stuff in it. Pinball machines, wrestling buddies, yellow boots with Andre the Giant's blood on them, the real blood from Andre. So if we ever wanted to clone the Giant, I got the blood, brother.
So that was a video that surfaced yesterday. Certainly Hulk not looking great. He had been on a tour for his Real American beer that they had been promoting. But SmackDown tonight, I left that Adam text message in on purpose because he'll be coming on. We'll do a short wrestling segment. SmackDown tonight will be heavily tailored towards Hulk Hogan. And,
well, let me tell you something, brother.
Him. So what are you all thinking today? Let's bring you in on the conversation. Happy you're here on a Friday. Happy Friday, Virgil. Really good stuff, man. Hope it's going well. Justin, happy Friday as well. Ryan, you feeling all healthy now? I'm feeling pretty good. Yeah, I'm feeling good. Why? You think I'm closer to visiting with the Hulkster than being here on the channel with you guys? No, things are good. Thanks for asking, though. BG, yo, Rhino, how long? You doing good, sir? Hope you. Or do you have any good weekend plans? We are going to scout out a place where we think we're going to hold my son's 11th birthday party. So for some of you that are close to me outside of the show, you know, my mother-in-law, anybody seen Billy Madison? Almost everybody's seen Billy Madison. My mother-in-law, for with the exception of maybe 1 or 2 birthdays, has put on these I call them Liam Paloozas, because she's got this nice property out in Galt. It's got, wine, or it's got the grape vines and all that. Anyways, beautiful property. She turns it into just a carnival. I mean, you've got hot dog machines, you've got cotton candy machines, popcorn machines, you got every candy you can think of, multiple cakes, cake pops. It's nuts. So we finally said, Maria, we don't want to do it anymore, because we know it's a lot on her, but she loves to do it. And it's a lot on us. And it's like, let's scale it down. Let's bring the closest of the close together. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go scout a place in Placerville. So if you're in Placerville, you might see us rolling around. Come say hello. By the way, I want to give a shout out to one of my friends, Gail, who's in here once in a while. Gail in Valencia. She's getting ready to go on with Jim Rome here in about 15 minutes. She's going to knock that out of the park. Looking forward to seeing that after I get off the air. Pro wrestling. Oh, yo, Wrestling Friday. Let's go. Yeah, it's going to be a short segment. It'll be a short segment. We did wrestling all day yesterday. So Rhino, scale 1 to 10. How excited are you for SummerSlam? 6, maybe 6. I don't know what the big surprises are going to be. Grant loves talking. Yeah. He does not talk rumors. He doesn't like to talk rumors because they always float around and most of them never come to fruition. I can respect that as well. But if you guys want to talk them here, I'm good for it, especially this time of year. Not a problem at all. Flores, happy Friday, brother.
Hello, Friday. I've been waiting for you for a long time.
I agree. If Keon Ellis is the best player, they need to give him up for JK. Do it. Fans, I hate it. I absolutely hate it. But if this team's going to be more balanced, you're going to get people back into position. You got to think about it. And here's the other thing, too, that you need to think about, in my opinion. It's Jonathan Kuminga. I mean, he's been a big, I don't want to say a big deal. He's been a big storyline. But the fact that you're even thinking about flipping an undrafted guy that you developed in your system for a guy that Kuminga's won a championship, hasn't he? I think Kuminga's won a championship. Maybe he has it. But was the pet project of Steve Kerr and then just kind of fell off. You have to ask yourself, why did he fall off? What was the issue there? I think you can point to Jimmy Butler coming in. They played the same position. But this team, what they're doing now, or what they've done the last 3 years, has proven out that it doesn't work. So I like the draft picks. I like Scott Perry talking about something that I have heavily been pushing. You need to know what you have with Keegan offensively. And I don't think he's ever really gotten that shot. He's never played his natural position, which is the 3. So as much as I love Keon, you got to backload at guards. You can't say it's bad value. You can't. Especially with, Keon, this is the last year of his deal. So the Kings picked up the option. So we'll talk about it. We'll get into it. Ben Simmons can play well in Sacramento. Well, all these places, like some of the national reporters, I've heard a few of them talk about, well, this guy, he can't even shoot a shot. He's nothing on offense. You're not bringing him in for offense. You're not. You're bringing him in for defense. You need somebody that can switch on multiple positions. I mean, if you had Keegan and Ben Simmons on the floor at the same time, that's actually not terrible. Question is, can Ben, one, keep himself healthy, but also keep himself mentally engaged to where he can be useful, give good minutes throughout the season? It's arguable whether he was able to do that in LA. There was times he helped them for sure, but he wasn't playing a ton. Would you rather have McBucket, Eubanks, or Ben Simmons? I think that's pretty easy. I think it's Ben Simmons. Yeah, it's got to be Ben Simmons because of the Kings' needs. Fans back in. Kings have guys like Neek and, to a lesser degree, Carter to fill the same role as Keon? Well, not necessarily. I mean, Carter is not so Carter's a good defender, but he's a completely different defender than Keon Ellis. Keon is one of what I call the slippy. Ryan, you get paid to talk for a living. I can't say that word right now. He's slippery. That's what he is. He is a slippery guard that is very difficult to screen. He's like a gnat. And he's quick that way too. I've never seen, and I've watched some of the other guys that guard Curry, but there's been plays that I've seen Keon recover after he's been out of the play for a second on Steph Curry that I don't usually see within the NBA. I mean, you only see it with a very small handful of guards, and he sees Steph Curry traditionally 4 times a year. So you are giving up something there, but what do you do about that backlog? Everybody can't play. This isn't Little League, as Jerry Reynolds says. So if he has that much value that could land you a Kuminga because of the upside at a position where the Kings really need to reinforce things, I don't like it, but I understand it. And that's where I go back to saying it hasn't worked the last 3 years. I can't get mad at change unless it's reckless and stupid change. I know some of you would make the argument that getting rid of Valanciunas to drop $4 million in salary was a little reckless. Can't necessarily disagree with you there. That wasn't a great one. So Warriors think they can get a good package for Kuminga, even though they basically refused to showcase him. They can take Carter since the Kings didn't showcase him as well. I wish it worked that way. E-Dog. We got another dog in the house. I like that. I wish it worked that way, but it does not. You do bring up an interesting point in that had Kuminga not played in the playoffs, you're probably not hearing Kuminga's name nearly as much. You would hear it. He would definitely be one of those guys that they'd say, well, he's unknown. There's a lot of upside, but he fell out of Steve Kerr's liking, fell out of minutes there. So you got to wonder what's going on. But it was him coming back in the playoffs and being effective for the most part, which is why he's hyped up again. Period. End of story. So lots of stuff to talk about again on a Friday. If you guys want to get in, you can hit the links that are in the chat. If you want to call the show, you can scan the QR code as well. We've got Adam at the end of the show. We'll be doing 15, 20 minutes of wrestling. We are dismissing court early, 4:30 today. So make sure you get in. Got to play the dog sound since we have another dog in the King's Court. E-Dog, welcome to
Great
the club.
vibe today. Championship. We're here. We're ready. We're locked in. Bunch of dogs. Woo-woo!
HH looks very thin. Haunted Horse? You talking about Haunted Horse? I don't know that. Really? He looks thin? Oh, Hulk Hogan. Sorry. Why do I go to Horse? It's because I talk so much to Horse. It's because my second category of drops, or my second biggest category of drops, is Haunted Horse.
Who's next to you? There's a woman next to you.
That's my daughter.
Haunted Horse, man. You can't get it figured out, man. What's up? Go Kings. Yes, indeed. Hulk Hogan really looked bad. Yeah, he did not look good in that video. Happy Friday, Patrick. How's it going, buddy? Hey, Patrick, has Phil Mushnick said anything? I didn't check the post today, but has he weighed in? Ben Simmons to Sacramento. Dennis, are you reporting that? And I use report very lightly with Dennis. Kuminga had contact with the Kings. It's first time he communicated with Scott Perry, Christie, and Armstrong. Liked what Perry. Okay, Dennis, if you're going to put that in, you need to source that. I'm not saying this. Dennis is saying this. Kuminga had contact with the Kings. That's not coming from Grant. That's not coming from me. That's coming from Dennis. Adam, what's up, dude? As we do our shout outs. Devin, sheesh, I'm losing it. No, dude, you're good. You're good. I just feel really bad, man, for Hulk Hogan, the way he looked in that video. I hated that as many as you did. Not today. We'll do those on Wednesday. So, Dennis, man, I can't put my name behind some of that stuff unless I've read it from somebody that I trust. Not saying I don't trust you, Dennis, but we've had some mishaps here. So that's what Dennis is saying. That is not what I am saying. Knowing Phil, I'm sure he's gonna tee off on him at some point. Yeah, he probably will. He probably will. There was a tweet though that I thought was pretty powerful. It came out with a okay. So here's the deal, dude. Great, the Kings will part way with Sarich. You know where Sarich left last year? Golden State. You think they want him back? Just saying. According to Brent Siegel. Yeah, I can't put my name behind that. I can't. Some of those national guys, they're not always on the heartbeat. And they're actually late to the party, unless it's Shams. Give me Shams and I'll trust it. Or give me Sean Cunningham. Give me Jason Anderson. So, yeah, Dennis kind of thinks he is our insider. But Dennis also, okay, for as much as Dennis thinks he's an insider, this is the stuff that I have to deal with. This is why I don't ever see any of your other DMs. It's because Dennis is constantly sending them to me. So he sends me one this weekend. This was the exact conversation. Sources consider, right? I think it was sources. Now I'm not looking for it. NBA executives consider Dalton Connect to be a second round pick or valued as a second round pick right now. You and Grant wanted that clown, something along those lines. And I'm like, bro, come on. You cannot get on Dalton Connect, who was getting consistent minutes, contributing, who had his name in the running for Rookie of the Year, had enough value to get traded for Nick Richards in Charlotte, and then the trade gets overturned, and it turns into an awkward situation. And Dalton's like, does the team want me? Do they not want me? And then Luka comes in. Dalton's still got game in him. If Dalton would have been in Sacramento, that would not have happened. He would not be a second round pick value right now. He would still probably be holding his value, assuming he was playing as well as he had played in LA when he was in the rotation. He was out of the rotation because of the trade for Richards. Dalton had a full season and wasn't hurt. Okay, he probably went through something that's 10 times worse than an injury, Dennis. First off, you're adjusting to 82 games. That's the first thing. You get traded out of the blue, blindsided. And then you have to come back to the team because the trade gets voided. Something with the Charlotte end. The Lakers didn't like the physical. So, come on, man. Come on. Question, any comment on the 100 or so NFL players scalping Super Bowl tickets above market rate? Yeah, they're stupid. Give them to your friend to scalp. Other than that, no. Like, this is like, to me, that's like the old NCAA saying peanut butter on bagels is a violation, but butter is not. You know, you're going to crack down on these players for scalping Super Bowl tickets. I mean, I haven't read this story, but I would just say, give them to a friend to scalp for you. Give them to your agent to scalp for you. Like, why are you scalping them yourself if you know it's a rule? I don't know what the rule is about whether or not they're allowed to. Obviously, it looks like you are not allowed to scalp them. So, anyways, All right. I really want to get to Sac State because I thought Grant brought up some really good points last night. We can keep talking Kings. We'll have Adam here to end the show. Madden and Summerall. Oh my gosh, those two were the best. Incredible. Incredible. No problem, Patrick. Have a great weekend, brother. Thanks for coming in. Send you off.
Yeet!
Madden and Summerall, man. I don't know. Will there ever be a better duo than those two? I don't know. All right, back to Sac State. So we all know what's going on with Sac State. We all know that they are trying to make this massive jump from FCS to FBS. You've now had legislators talking and lobbying on their behalf. You've had the school president announce plans for a 25,000 seat stadium, which I don't know when groundbreaking starts or exactly where it's going to be. And this thing all came out of the blue because there was going to be an opening in the Pac-12, football-wise. When I think of Sac State, I don't really think of any athletics. Basketball played in a gym. Maybe I think about the football team first. I probably think about the football team first, but it's what it's supposed to be. It's FCS football. It's the level of players, and I understand Sac State has done better over the past few years, but that is a fairly small sample size compared to what they have done over a period of 20, 25 years. Grant talked about last night, nobody going to the games. It's a commuter school. You have to play into that. Grant also said Sacramento is not a football city. I thought that was interesting. I don't know how I feel about that quite yet. Because growing up, I was lucky enough to go to a lot of, almost all of the Sacramento Gold Miner games, almost all of the Surge games, if they were here in Sacramento, because my dad worked for one of the owners of the team. In fact, funny story, went to a game in Canada that the Gold Miners were playing in, and Grant was on that same flight. Little did I know. Anyways, so I've been around football. That worked on a smaller scale, the CFL. But these transitions into FCS or from FCS to FBS, these transitions where you go from a smaller conference to a bigger conference, and then hopefully with the goal of going to a major conference, those take time. You can't buy your way into those. I could make an argument that UC Davis is closer or was closer 15 years ago, 20 years ago to being able to make a jump to FBS than Sac State is now. UC Davis, and I understand Sac State has played some teams against the Pac-12. You have to go and take your bumps on the road. You got to go play the big boys and lose. You know why you do that? Because you get paid a ton of money by the big boys to fly out and be a warm-up game for you. You have to go through years and years and years of that and hopefully start to have some success. Now, not saying beating them is what defines success, but having other high school football players, seeing Sacramento State playing a major team, that helps a little bit in recruiting. And I get recruiting's completely different now than it was then. Schools can pay players now. You got NIL, you have a clearinghouse for NIL. So it's a different landscape that the major universities are trying to figure out right now. The big boys in college football still kind of have their heads spinning. So you're going to tell me Sac State is going to jump right into that, which I get the Pac-12 is much different. The Pac-12 is more of a Mountain West now in football and to a degree basketball. It's what the old Mountain West was, And the best teams from the Mountain West when I was in school at San Diego State, they're the ones that eventually jumped into the Pac 12 before the Pac 12 disbanded. Utah, BYU, etc. So, football, I don't know who's advising the president. You might have one good year. You might have one good year where you have tickets sold out, you get a good student section, but that will tail off over time. Because I watched it firsthand at San Diego State. San Diego State played at Qualcomm. I think Sac State and San Diego State, if you take into account everything that there is to do in San Diego for the kids or the students that end up moving and live there in the dorms, if you take into account all that there's to do, I think it's kind of even because there's really not much to do here in Sac unless you're going to be going to San Francisco, which is a dump now, unless you're going to be going to Tahoe, which, most students on a weekend aren't going to do that. Maybe one weekend out of a semester, you make that trip. Most students don't have cars. But when I was at San Diego State for football, they were still trying to claw their way in. They had just gotten in, I believe, to the Mountain West in football. The only time that there was good attendance for the football games was when they played the big teams. It's when they played Arizona State with Terrell Suggs coming off the end. It was rough. They got pounded. But you know what they did? They kept getting pounded. They kept scheduling harder and harder opponents, at least one or two of them each year, to keep bringing the money in and to get their name out there a little bit more. Because you're San Diego State competing with UCLA, USC, Stanford for recruits, Cal. So you're kind of small potatoes compared to everybody else. They went to Notre Dame, played Notre Dame. I think they won that game as well. So they built things up naturally. And it wasn't until, and they got better as time went. They got better recruits. They had winning seasons. They started going to bowl games. It wasn't till just a few years ago did they finally build a stadium. And a lot of that was out of being between a rock and a hard place because of Qualcomm and the Chargers leaving. So that's where I see just football. I can't wrap my arms around it. And I also can't wrap my arms. And I wish the best for Sac State. I absolutely wish the best for their athletes, their programs. I want them to be successful. But I can't wrap my arms around football right now. Who's the big name coach? What are the big games on your schedule? What big teams are coming to play you in Sacramento? Those are all really big unknowns. Like, I don't think, and I mean this with all due respect, I don't think Sac State has any idea what they're trying to jump into. This isn't jumping in to the kiddie pool. This isn't jumping into the shallow part of the pool. This is jumping off a cruise ship into the middle of the ocean. That kind of jump from where that program sits today. Now, I was also part of the basketball program at San Diego State. Look at young Rhino there. Open tryouts. Well, preferred walk-on, open tryouts at San Diego State. They get held every single year because they have to. It's an NCAA rule. However, usually nobody ever gets picked up. That program was a program that was not in a good place. This was 3 or 4 years into Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher's tenure at San Diego State. They handed Steve Fisher and Brian Dutcher the keys, and they said, build your ideal program right here in paradise. We're going to give you all the runway in the world. You do what you need to do. And the university knew it was going to take patience. You see that logo behind me? Mountain West. You know how many people were coming to games? Have you ever heard of the show? And by the way, they were picking up guys from tryouts. Have you ever heard of the show? The San Diego State basketball section, the hardcores of the hardcores. When I was at San Diego State, that is what the show looked like. That is what the show looked like. We scheduled tough games. We knew we were going to get pounded. We played Arizona. We went on the road to Texas Tech with Bobby Knight coaching. All of those difficult things where you have got to take your lumps, but from the lumps and the money, you've got to pull the learning lessons out of those on how those programs run. And I know every time we went to a big school, there were people from the team, from the coaching staff, walking around facilities, looking at what bigger schools need to have success. You know what the show looks like now? Here's the show. San Diego State, just a couple of years ago, was in the national championship game. Steve Fisher, no longer the coach, but he handed it over to Brian Dutcher, which was always the plan. Dutch was patient. They're still partners, even though Coach Fish is not on the sidelines. They talk all the time. They were able to build a powerhouse program in their conference, and they knew it wasn't going to happen overnight. But from 2004 to 2005 to 2006 to 2007, the section grew and grew and grew and grew. The team got better and better and better and better because more exposure, more recruits, a head coach that had some base behind his name, and Steve Fisher, a national champion. For those that don't know who Steve Fisher is, he coached the Fab Five at Michigan. Weber, Rose, all of them, a lot of them would come by at some point during the season. So the reason I'm pointing this out is because I absolutely love what Sac State is doing with the basketball team. I think they are, if I am putting my eggs in any basket right now, and I am trying to naturally grow a program, which it seems like they are doing. They hired Mike Bibby, local legend here in Sacramento. Mike immediately hits the ground running. Shaq is your GM now. That is major notoriety. For those that don't know, Mike was coaching a lot. He was doing some AAU stuff, obviously working for the Kings, coaching his son, and Mike has already gotten some decent recruits. So what's Sac State doing right now? They are expanding. Dorian explained it last night. They're expanding the facilities, so the basketball gym's going to be bigger. Sac State has their eyes in the wrong place. Let the football program do what it's going to do and be on a natural curve instead of trying to shoot it up with some steroids and get into something that you have no idea how to navigate, that will spiral so far out of control and lose money. You're betting on the come that you're going to get recruits. You're betting on the come that students are going to show up. You're betting on the come that you're going to fill that building outside of the football season for other events. You can't bet on those comes when you're going in to FBS. You have to know that those things are coming. You have to have already had those talks and had interested parties. that want to come use a stadium. So I'm okay with the stadium, but keep the growth natural. Stay in your division. Do what you need to do. Start scheduling some big games. Yes, you're going to have to pay out some NIL, but not nearly at the same degree. And you will fund your NIL by playing bigger schools. You got to do it. UC Davis did it all the time. I was at the game that UC Davis beat Stanford in Stanford on the farm. But as for the basketball program, this is setting up pretty nice. This is exactly where it was kind of at when I went to San Diego State. You had a coach that has some base to it, some local appeal, that knows basketball. People are going to come out just to see your coach. That happened at San Diego State too, because he was so well respected. And then the product, you're going to get better. People will come watch basketball way more in Sacramento than they will come watch football. Here's the other thing. Sac State, at its disposal, has the Golden One Center. The Golden One Center has already said that they can play there as much as they want. That is a huge liberty for Sac State, because now you can decide on that timeline of maybe getting your own building. I like what they're doing, expanding their facility, but you have the best of both worlds, much like San Diego State football had, where they were able to play at Qualcomm. So I love what Mike's doing. I'm not expecting huge gains overnight, but I think if you look at who's going to have more success early on and who's going to have more attention, it's 100% going to be Mike Bibby and that basketball team. They're going to be decent. It's going to be a different look Sacramento State team. And Mike's familiar with that campus. We used to hold his camps in that gym, and it is a high school gym. So we'll continue talking about this a little bit more. Wanted to weigh in on that. Let's bring Mac onto the show. Happy Friday, Mac.
Hey, how are you? Happy Friday.
Doing well, buddy. What's going on?
I think there are pros and cons with Sac State. So, like, one thing that you failed, you kind of haven't mentioned, and I understand that basketball and football are the big boys, but like Sac State in the other sports, they're getting too good for their conferences. For example, their baseball team, they are producing so much. They beat last year. They beat LSU in a series. They consistently beat California, Berkeley. Last year, they're consistently getting over 30 wins, which in college baseball, that's really good. They got 35. They had 35 wins last year, which they should have, if they were in a better conference, they would have gotten an automatic bid. Because they lost the only way for them to get into the tournament is to win their conference, which they have done in the last 10 years 3 times. They played Stanford last year. They lost 2-1. So, I mean, then their golf with Kevin Sutherland. They've got a great golf team. I mean, I could go on and on. That's kind of becoming a problem for Sac State is their other sports, which don't make as much money, who in the Big Sky can, I mean, yeah, they're in the WAC, but the WAC is not a good baseball or whatever, because that's the only sport that isn't in the Big Sky. It's just they're kind of outgrowing their britches in those sports, if that makes sense. Yeah. Another thing is they were when Troy Taylor was there. Yes, they were playing the big boy schools, and now they don't want to schedule them because they would beat them. They went and they beat Fresno. They went and they beat Stanford. Now they have UNR as their FBS team to play this year. And you're right, you can't make money when you play UNR, which you could argue UNR is kind of maybe a little bit better than Sac State. But that's kind of becoming a problem in their football is I think a lot of FBS teams, because of recent success, are not wanting to schedule them. Another problem with Sac State and the Big Sky is the Big Sky's dismantling. It just is. You're going to lose Montana. I think they lost Montana State. They're going to lose North Dakota. All those Midwest school, or not Midwest, but Big Sky schools, they're leaving. So you're only going to have like Northern Arizona. You got UC Davis who's leaving, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of like you have to get out of the Big Sky because now what you like I said, in all your other sports, you're doing really well and you're winning conference championships. Now you're gonna your product. The Big Sky's not, whoever they replace, they're not going to be as good of schools, right?
Well, no, not necessarily. I think Sac State should be making the same moves those other schools are making, but instead Sac State's trying to leapfrog into FBS.
Well, but I can see them. I could see them being a Mountain West team.
Yes,
but that's an FBS team.
Okay, but that's it. Okay. But that's at most. Like I'm talking about FBS to the Pac-12. Like when this all started,
but the Pac-12 isn't Power 5 anymore. That's what I'm saying. I mean, you can.
But you are dealing, Mac, the jump from the Big Sky even to let's say the Pac-12. That is massive. Like you are going up against. Like you said, UNR is the best team they're going to play against. UNR is just another team, or was another team in the Mountain West.
Right. But they're considered to be the new Pac-12. They are in consideration for that. And that's what I'm saying is if they're just playing Fresno, which is going to be a new Pac-12 team, and San Diego, they'll I don't see them coming in last place. They'll come in at the bottom, but I don't think last place.
They will be dead last, Mac. I can promise you.
I don't know. They did have the number one recruiting for the FCS this year. They had the number one recruiting class. I do think losing Troy Taylor killed them because when they had Troy Taylor, he was able to convince all the kids from Folsom to come in. I mean, look at, and they have been doing a good job recruiting. I mean, look, they had Cameron Scadaboo for 2 years. Yes, he went to Arizona after. Well, didn't they have him for 3 years? I can't remember, but they have been recruiting really well. I think just the problem.
Mac, do we lose you? Yep, there you go. Go ahead.
I do agree with Grant about the campus doesn't care about the team. No. About those teams. They don't. In fact, we had a vote. I'm an alumni from there.
Okay.
But we had a vote for they were going to raise tuition by $100 or something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they were going to build an arena. And it just got killed. It just got completely decimated. And nobody cared. And I couldn't understand. The thing that I couldn't understand why I understand why the campus would say no, but there's so much positives that would come from a new arena. You could get, for example, now I'm not being political or anything, but this is a big deal. Just recently, Bill Clinton came to UC Davis. If Sac State would have had a proper building, they could bring speakers like a Bill Clinton and charge money, and it would be good for the campus. It'd be good for the community. It'd be good for academics. Another thing that kills Sac State is you can't get a PhD there, right? So you can't get a doc. You can't. They're not producing lawyers. They're not producing doctors. UC Davis is, unfortunately. But so I understand what you're I see your point, but I also see why Sac State sort of needs to get out of the Mountain West, because I think the Mountain West is going to die, or not Mountain West, the Big Sky. Big Sky it is going to die and they got to do something.
So Mac, here's my issue. Like, how many times has Sac State in the last few years competed for the FCS championship?
In the last few years,
Mhm.
well, so they've made 4 out of 5 times they made the playoffs,
Mhm.
and they got a first round bye, so that means they were a top 4 seed.
Okay.
So in the last 5 years, they did that. They lost Troy Taylor to Stanford. That kind of stunk. The guy who took over for him, he did all right. He made the playoffs once, had an early, and then last year just collapsed. I mean, he was able to take Troy Taylor's guys and do well. They fired him after 2 years.
Mhm.
So that kind of tells you what happens. There's talk of they still have, who was the guy who took over for Troy Taylor at Folsom, and he came with Troy? Was it Richards? Is it Richardson? Anyway, who won state? They still have him on at defense. So that was a good move. I don't know anything about this new coach, but he did have the #1 recruiting class in the FCS. So I don't know much about him. But in the last 5 years since Troy Taylor came, they have been ranked nationally in the FCS in the top 3 almost every week.
Yep. Well, and you can't be in a point, in my opinion, and I know there's always going to be transitions with coaches in this day and age, but
Mm-hmm.
if you're looking to make that transition, you need to still have Troy Taylor in that
Yeah.
position. You need to have somebody that is tenured, somebody that can carry that program through and have something to look back on in the past and say, well, look, this is what we did here. And that's why they were getting good recruits. I think Sac State is probably exactly where they need to be in FCS. You need to go compete actually for a championship, win a couple of them in a row. There's no rush. And I understand your point that the Big West is going to dismantle. Go to a different conference. I mean, does Sac State even have the money to sustain a travel budget?
That's the big problem, because you don't have donors. You don't.
You don't.
And I mean, Sac State was created originally to have for teachers. And I don't know if you know this, but it is one of the top teacher schools in the country. Well, that's great that the alum, and I'm a teacher. I am one of the alumni who is a teacher. I'm sorry, but I don't have a lot of money to donate to them.
Sure.
I give them $20 a year because it's my alma mater and I really want them to do good. But my $20, like you said, it's not gonna do them much. It might be able to buy somebody lunch. So no, I get your point. And yes, you do need consistency, like they have done in baseball. They've had Reggie Christensen there since 2012 maybe, and they've won what, 4? I think they've won 4 conference tournaments, have gone to the College World Series, and the best they've ever done is they've gone to regionals and they lose on the championships because they never can beat Stanford in the regionals.
Yeah, so here's what I would say, Mac. This is, and I'm going to draw back to San Diego State. Moving to FBS, moving to a bigger conference doesn't bring the donors out. You know what brings the donors out? It's winning. So the example too bad I don't have Charlie Sheen there for me to say it, but the example I'll give is the Jacobs Center at San Diego State. So we had the athletic building, we had the Ox Gym that had a locker room for the men and the women, And then we had it's now Viejas Arena. It was Cox Arena. So we either practiced in the Ox Gym or we practiced in Cox Arena.
Mm-hmm.
Is San Diego State made Sweet 16s, Elite Eights, made the national championship. The Jacobs family paid to have an entire basketball training facility built right there.
Right.
It's called the Jam Center. And the Jacobs family is familiar here in Sacramento. They used to, they're at Kings games a lot. Grant knows them as well. That's where the money comes when you're winning. So go win a couple of championships in FCS. There's no,
go ahead.
I was going to say, go win a couple of championships.
Yeah.
Get a couple in a row. Be the powerhouse there. You're going to get more money to come in, and then you start to make that natural transition.
No, you're right, because you can't just win in tennis, which they do, golf, baseball. I mean that is helping that they're having like the Reese Hopkins and stuff like that they're producing. But you're right, the big ones are basketball and football. And they've always struggled with it. And you know that the gym that they are creating, are you familiar with the campus at all?
Yes.
Okay, so have you been to the Well?
Yes, I think so.
So,
wait, is the Well different than the basketball arena?
So yeah, what they're doing is that's kind of like a gym, and in it had like 8 basketball courts, and then on top it even have, that's why you see in the design it looks like a indoor track on the roof, and so you can see in the design the indoor roof. That's where they're building it, and what that is it's a free gym for every student and whatever. So to get to the locker rooms, the players are going to have to walk through it's not a public gym, but a gym to get to the locker room. I don't know how that's really going to work. It's going to be rinky dink because that's where all the intramural basketball tournaments and whatnot and leagues were. So I don't know if this is if you want to go big time, if that's really a good long-term solution.
Well, it's not, but that's where I said earlier, for your big games, you've got access to the Golden One Center.
Right.
And that's where you hold your big games. You know, you're not going to fill that building up, but as you hold bigger and bigger games, you're going to have, here's the other thing. You have fan bases that travel with their teams.
Right.
So you're going to have all of that too. So anyways, hey, dude, go ahead. You have one more point to make?
I was just going to say one other thing. Their big games, a really big problem with their basketball is they have been horrendous for years and years and years since the conception. And like when I've been to their big games, when they play UC Davis and they try to even bring Stanford in to play another team at the Golden One, and I don't know if you've been, but it's empty and it's almost worse because it looks even more empty. And so if you were to televise that, that's not a good look either.
But my point is now with Mike Bibby at the helms, and
hopefully he can do something.
If they have some success, I can already tell based off of what they've done recruiting. You've got different types of recruits coming in than I've seen from before. Mike Bibby brings a completely different pipeline to players that Sac State ever had. So
and credibility too.
And credibility. So as that builds up, see, it's that natural progression. Just like I said, like with our student section, 2004, this is what you're looking at. Yeah, we had a big 10,000, 12,000 seat arena that you're talking about, Mac. Like you could have speaking events. That arena was filled. I mean, you would get a concert here and there. Wrestling didn't go there. A lot of places went to the San Diego Sports Forum instead of our arena. And as we got better, more people started to come to the arena. So you can't just have the building and assume that you're going to get all this stuff, because you don't. It's this type of atmosphere that gets you that. So hey,
anyway,
dude,
take it easy, my man.
Yep. Have a great weekend, brother.
Right, see you later.
Appreciate you. Good job, Mac. He brings up some good points. I just think you're better suited right now with the basketball team to have some success. Now, you're assuming that Mike Bibby's going to do well. The recruits are going to do well. But you have the ingredients on the basketball side to start that climb to get to where you want to get right now. You have the ingredients. I don't see it on the football side. And all the focus, the money is pointed at football. So it's an interesting conversation. Very interesting conversation. What? No comments on basketball, Rhino? Look at that defensive stance. That's defensive stance right there. Yeah. Boy, used to be able to move back in the day before I got those hips replaced. That's when I had real hips. Look at that. Can't believe I found that in the archives looking for this show. Anyways, welcome again to the King's Court. We're going out early today. Let's get to the comments really quick. If you don't mind, give us a big thumbs up. We would appreciate it. Appreciate you for the call, Mac. You got Grant coming up later tonight as well. So join him at 8 o'clock for open forum. He kind of motivated me to talk about the Sac State stuff. There's a lot of meat on the bone to still talk about with the Kings and a possible deal for Kuminga. Also Simmons, is he going to end up in Sac? Sounds like he's getting closer to a decision. So if anything happens, we will come back on the air to cover that, so long as we are not in the middle of a meal at our favorite place here in town, Bennett's, whether it's the West Side Grill in Rockland, the Roseville location, or how in Fair Oaks. You can't go wrong. Beautiful locations, all the same great food at each one. Bennett's prime cuts. I mean prime cuts of seafood and steak. You get to pick your steak out if you're getting the New York prime. Also, the redfish, awesome. Light, sauteed spinach, so good. Blackened. Oh, now I'm getting hungry. Now I'm thinking about going to Bennett's. And most importantly, they've got some incredible specials. Like if you think you're going to break the bank, you're not. You're going to get that type of food without breaking the bank. This weekend, prime rib, Friday, Saturday, Sunday night. You got brunch and bubbles and brunch. On Saturday and Sunday, all three locations, 11 to 2 p.m. You can get 2 entrees and a bottle of champagne for $44 or $45.99. Yeah, that's a heck of a deal. Also, happy hour 2 to 6 every single day. So go check out Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Check out their new Taste of Summer menu. 2 courses, $30. You can add on dessert for $5 more. A lot of great stuff over there. Big thanks to Brian and Margot and the entire team and all of you who have gone out to support them. Let them know that you heard about them here on the channel, and let us know, like BG did a couple of weeks ago, that he went in to celebrate his anniversary. We will let Brian know those things and retweet your visits. You've got the standing offer too. Don't make me go into the standing offer. You know the bad karma that's going to come with it. If you have a good meal and you send me that receipt, you never know when it's going to pop up. That Kobe Bryant cheeseburger, you know, you think you might be getting a good sushi roll. You're at a good sushi restaurant and maybe they were out of a certain fish. So they went and got the gas station sushi and tried to pull the whoop-de-doop on you. You don't want that kind of karma. So, but you know the deal. If you have a bad meal, hit me up. We will take care of it. So we've talked mostly Sac State. We talked some Kings. We are going to wrap up the show with some wrestling. Obviously, yesterday, the passing of Hulk Hogan, real name, Terry Bollea. Adam and I came on to kind of cover that, but now it's kind of the fallout from that. You got SmackDown tonight. Looks like it's going to be heavily tailored towards Hulk. We bring in Adam Uso. What's up, dude?
Yeet!
What up? Sorry about that.
You're good. How
What's
you
going
feeling? How you feeling 24 hours later?
Yeah, Mac had a really good call yesterday as well, and he talked about how his dad passed away at 8, and Hulk Hogan was kind of like that father figure to him. And truth be told, like my dad didn't come into my life until I was about 5, but he loved Hulk Hogan, and I think he sort of parlayed that onto me as well, and
Yeah.
that's kind of where my love of wrestling came from.
It was a conduit that you guys could connect through.
Yeah, 100%.
Um,
So,
I saw a really good tweet. I think I started to say this and I got cut off. The best tweet I saw was from a reverend, and he said, and I'm going to paraphrase it, Hulk Hogan wasn't perfect, and neither are you. And I thought that was pretty fitting for those that, and I'm not making excuses for what he did at times during his life, but you know, we've all had our shortfalls. Maybe not as big, maybe some bigger, but what the impact, there is no WWE today without Hulk Hogan.
absolutely not. I think Dave LaGreca had a really good take today, and he talked about, when I think of Hulk Hogan, I don't think of Hulk Hogan 2024 or 2025. I think of Hogan 84, 87, 96, whatever it was for you. And that's how I want to remember him. He wasn't perfect, like you said, but no one is. And it's complicated. Like, I'm not one to comment on someone else's life. So I will remember him as the wrestler and the impact that he had there for me.
Yep.
So that's how I
Absolutely.
will remember him.
Spot on, Rock. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. That's why we're able to not be perfect. So we've got SmackDown tonight. You got to think that it's going to be heavy-handed with the Hulk Hogan stuff. I, for one, last night went back and I watched, like, I just searched like the Hulk Hogan stuff online, and I watched something called The Main Event. It wasn't Saturday night's main event. It was The Main Event on NBC, and it was kind of at the height. It was after Hogan and Andre WrestleMania 3, but it was at the height of, that feud, Hulkamania. 33 million people tuned in to watch that live when it was aired. And watching Hogan, like, I was taken back. It was just a different animal. It was a different spectacle. The look, the crowd, the way that he makes Andre look good when Andre can barely move, the way he sold the finish, which was a screw job. Like, and that's just one taste. So I get the impact and everybody remembering that good part of him.
33 million people in what year?
I think it was 1986.
WrestleMania 3.
No, I'm talking about this main event. It was, I'll tell you. I'll go to my YouTube right now. It was.
I mean, that's maybe semantics or whatever, but the point being, 33 million people tuning in the mid 80s for anything worldwide is a remarkable number. What is a Raw or even like their PLEs get today?
Right.
It's nowhere near 33 million.
Right. And it was on NBC too. Yeah. So,
remarkable.
Remarkable.
I think that's just a testament to the impact that he had on pop culture and society. But that's who he was. He brought it to the stage. So to speak.
Indeed. Justin. All right, I think we can acknowledge you. We'll acknowledge you today, Justin.
Acknowledge me.
Okay, here's who I want to ask about. Now that we don't know if there's any clarity, but it seems like Seth is going to be out for a minute. Where in the world do you go with L.A. Knight?
Great. We talked about this last week a little bit. Let me find it real quick. Where was it? Uh, let's see. Cage Side Seats had an article that they put out today that, like, the title is WWE has a big LA Knight problem on its hands. We are 1 week away from SummerSlam, a 2-night event, and currently LA Knight has no match scheduled for it. So, do we see something tonight set up? You can't go with the Seth Riders because they're already locked up in a tag team match with Roman and Jay.
Did you say the Seth Riders?
Yeah, the Seth Riders.
Woo!
Go ahead.
I
Carry
stole
on.
someone else, but those guys are already locked up in a feud. Obviously, Seth won't be there, or will he? That's a side topic, but we have nothing going for LA Knight. We have no build. We have, like, what are you going to do with this guy? Unless someone like pops out of nowhere and starts something with him tonight or Monday. We've seen LA Knight a little bit more on Raw as of late. So maybe he's kind of moving towards that brand, but I don't know. What the hell are you doing with this guy? And it's just like more of the same from WWE with LA Knight. It's pathetic. Like, do something with this guy.
okay, they were going to do something with him. Per that same website, it was scheduled that Seth was going to win Saturday night's main event and LA was going to win at SummerSlam. So it's kind of similar if we assume, and Justin asks, any chance that Seth's injury is a work? Yes, there's like literally split between the people that professionally cover wrestling that are like, yeah, it's work, and others are saying it's not a work. LA Knight finds himself in the same place Randy Orton found himself when KO went out with an injury. If we're going to assume Seth's injury is legit, so I think you've got to find a way to have LA on the card, but it can't be something stupid and pathetic, or you make it something fun, that kind of puts him over, like the Hendry thing with Orton. That was a lot of fun.
So funny that you bring that up, because in this same article, they mention maybe you put LA Knight against Joe Hendry at SummerSlam.
Say his name and he appears. Say his name and he appears.
He is kind of out of the, well, I don't know if Trick Williams retained at TNA,
I thought that was kind of weird that Trick retained. I didn't expect that at all.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't have a problem with it.
If we want to go that direction for just a second,
they can't copyright that. That's a fan chant. Anyways, go ahead.
If you want to go that direction, and I'd love to for a minute, but the NXT champs also hold all the TNA belts. Well, not all of them, right? But you've got two NXT people holding two of the top TNA belts currently. And what I think is going to happen is you're going to see a huge surge of TNA wrestlers invade NXT next. And they will not only take their belts back, but probably take some NXT WWE belts back to TNA with them. And I'm stoked for that. I think that's going to be a cool thing when it happens. Hopefully.
Yeah. It's got to go both ways, right? So it's a partnership.
Yeah. Sorry, going back to what you were saying, though, kickstart me a little bit here. I'm sorry.
We were just talking about LA Knight and what you do with him.
Yeah, but there's nothing beyond what that Seth and LA Knight feud uh, there's no contingency plan there for him, and it just sucks, man. Like you see this guy, everyone loves him, and once again, it just feels like we're in this spot where LA Knight gets screwed over again, not by anyone's fault necessarily, but if this Seth thing is a work and you screwed over LA Knight at SummerSlam for this work of a Seth injury, I think that's messed up, man.
Well, you know what? Okay, I think maybe that is what maybe okay, let's book both sides of this. If you don't do something fun with LA Knight, maybe it's a run-in during the tag match against, what did you call them, the Seth Riders?
Yeah, the Seth Riders.
Okay. Maybe it's a run-in, right? And he gets involved there. Because that other big dude's going to get involved. I can't keep track of all their names. Or if it is a work, you could have LA Knight stop Seth from cashing in.
Okay.
If he comes back.
That's something I didn't think about, and I could totally be down with that idea, and I love that idea, actually, now that you say it. If that's the scenario, I hope that's the case.
Macho Man was pretty cool. Love Macho Man. I underappreciated Macho Man. I need to go back and watch some Macho Man.
Yeah. Going back to the Hulk stuff. Yeah, I watched WrestleMania 18 after we got off the show last night.
I thought about it. I didn't do it. It kind of, I said it yesterday. If you guys weren't with us and gals yesterday, this was his last appearance in WWE. He's just getting booed off the stage. That stinks.
Well, I mean, the most toxic fans in all of sports and entertainment.
What? LA?
No, the wrestling community.
It's such a different group of fans. If you go to a restaurant,
right?
Yeah, about raising people's kids.
No, that we're fickle.
We're fickle.
Well, let me tell you something, brother.
We're fickle.
He's right.
All right, fair enough. Seth could screw over Punk with a cash in. He beats Gunther. Yes. Yeah, there's a lot of different ways. How do you think they handled tonight? Here's the one thing that I don't like, okay? And I've kind of been like this in life, and maybe I'm being fickle here, but when somebody passes away, they all of a sudden become everybody's best friend. Like if there's wrestlers that legit didn't, maybe get along with Hogan, or, like I don't need them paraded out for a promo that how great the guy was, et cetera, et cetera. I thought LA Knight's promo when Bray Wyatt passed away was perfect. It's like, yeah, we didn't see eye to eye, but creatively, like, just one of the most brilliant people that I've worked with. I don't know. I hope it's not. I hope it's fitting, but not like crazy over the top.
If someone were to come out tonight and do a piece on Hogan, who would be the best person to do that?
It's got to be Cody Rhodes, I think. Because you've got that American gimmick. He is kind of the captain. I think it probably needs to be Cody. What about you?
Vince.
Stop. You can't put Vince McMahon on TV.
I know. But
that would actually be
should do it.
No, it's not. He should do it at the funeral without TV cameras on. Like that would like Vince McMahon would get killed for that. He's overshadowing Hulk's passing with him returning and TKO stock plummeting. Like plummeting.
Well, McLean, I don't know if that's completely true.
Yeah, there was not a lot. Yeah, there was people that felt like they were held down. I know Jimmy Hart's flying in for tonight.
Yeah. Hey, maybe that's the guy. I think that's the guy. You can't get Vince. You need a Jimmy Hart there.
I mean, okay, but this is how they handle this is going to kind of set the bar for future unfortunate passings of massive stars. This is Hulk freaking Hogan. Like the only other people I could think of passing that theoretically in the wrestling world would be a bigger deal is The Rock, Taker, Stone Cold, Cody, and Trips. And even out of that group, you can narrow it down. Probably The Rock.
I'll give
The
you
Rock
one
movie.
that I think is.
Oh, it's
Okay,
John Cena. I forgot. John Cena, too.
I would go with Bret Hart. I am not a Bret Hart guy.
You know, okay, but here's what I'm going to say. That Bret Hart got the opportunity for that spot because he was the exact opposite of Hogan. It was the whole steroid thing. They were trying to get away from the big, buff, oiled up dudes and bring it back to like smaller, you know, technical, natural wrestlers. I was a Bret Hart guy. I wanted those glasses in the front row.
I think I wanted the glasses, but I was never a Bret Hart guy.
I was a Bret Hart guy. Royal Rumble was here in 1991, and I was there for that. He won his match.
Wow.
Title on the line. Yeah. But, you know, I'll focus on Hogan tonight. Definitely will be a memorable night. I wonder how much it cuts into storyline advancement. Do they throw that out the window this close to SummerSlam?
Gosh, let's see. I mean, there's not a lot on the slate for tonight. We've got the Wyatt Six defending their tag championship against Andrade and Rey Fenix. I could see Andrade and Rey Fenix taking it away from the Wyatt Six. We've got Alexa Bliss versus Roxanne. Probably some Judgment Day storyline, which why the hell are they on SmackDown? Randy Orton and Jelly Roll and Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul face off. Cody Rhodes to appear. And again, they mentioned Jelly Roll appears ahead of his SummerSlam match. So they've got Jelly Roll twice on for tonight's show. So it sounds to me like they don't have a lot on the card, but they also didn't have a lot on the card Monday or sometime in the last week, and we got a banger out of it. So we'll see, but I think you're right. I think, you know, they're probably going to devote, I would guess, about 10 minutes or so to Hulk.
Oh, you know what? Now that is Cena scheduled for tonight?
No, he will be at SmackDown next week leading into SummerSlam. He's there for one of the nights.
I wonder, I legit wonder if tonight they surprise the crowd with Cena to talk about Hogan.
Yeah, so Cena has like 3 out of the dates that he is
Later, Paul, we're getting off to soon in a second.
Cena's scheduled to appear for there's like 3 missing dates in there. So at some point he's gonna make a cameo. Do I think it's tonight? Probably not. But you know, I'm really hoping it's October 6th for Raw in Dallas that Cody will, or I'm sorry, John Cena will be here for that Raw episode, which forget which PLE it leads into. Is that not Crown Jewel? I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah.
But we got a couple more dates that are undefined for John Cena here.
For sure. All right, dude. Thanks for being able to hop on yesterday and kind of cover it with us and enjoy SmackDown tonight, buddy.
Thanks for the invite. Always a good time. Remember to train, eat your vitamins.
Go ahead, keep going.
Say your prayers. Believe in yourself, brother.
There you go. Hulk will live. You know what? Hulkamania will live forever. It will. So
it will live forever, brother. It lives on with all the Hulkamaniacs running wild on you.
That's my wife's ringtone. The Office.
All
right. Gotta roll. All right. Sorry we're cutting short today, but fun show. I appreciate everybody that's come in this week in the chat. Even you, Dennis. Appreciate you, brother. McLean, great call. And we will be back this weekend if anything happens with the Kings in terms of transactions. You've got Grant again tonight, 8 o'clock. Make sure you join him. He'll wrap up the week for you. Remember, you can find all of our episodes right here on the YouTube channel. If you're watching on X, we'd love to have you subscribe to the YouTube side, but you can catch the show on X as well. We appreciate all those too. Please give us a big thumbs up, a like. We are on our march to get another like or one more like per day. So would really appreciate that. We're going to pay it off with a Bennett's get together that all of you have been asking for. So make it a safe weekend. Have a great rest of your Friday night. And looking forward to talking with all of you on Monday. Go Kings, light the beam. Courts dismissed for the weekend. Join Grant, 8 o'clock again. Brother.
Order in the court.